This story is narrated by a sheikh about a lady who passed away. The sheikh is saying that from the beginning the situation was not so well. I can realize it was not very good, and he's going through experience of doing this for 30 years and smell from the other side and all the other signs. He said, okay, till here I can ignore and I can just say, okay, maybe something happened. It's just a smell coming out of the body and the dead body and whatsoever. He said, until they took the body into the bed, and they carried the bed until the graveyard. The sheikh is saying, in the graveyard we were big in number. The number can flip the whole car. We were many in number in the graveyard. Now we want to carry this woman and put her inside the grave. The 5-6 brothers are trying to pull this lady and she is not moving. Another 4 or 5 brothers is coming and trying to hold this body and she is not moving. And that's why the sheikh said our number was enough to flip the whole car. But this body, small in size, small body, she is not moving from bed. What's wrong? And he did his best. That body is not moving from the bed. And now he said, I went through all these fiqh issues. If it is bleeding, you do this. If it is broken, you do this. And if you have body chopped into many pieces, then you do this. What you will do, how you will do ghusl and bath and everything. But I have never ever come across this kind of situation, So I have to call one of the mashayikh, and the situation was really bad. Even though he was saying before calling the shaykh, he was standing in between the grave. So one feet is here and the other feet is here. The hole is in between his legs, so he can at least help. But the thing is, the body is not moving. So at the end, when he gave up, he said, let me call one of the mashayikh and ask what to do. So he called one of the mashayikh. In a very fast way, he said, this is the scenario. What should I do? I don't know what to do. So the shaykh said, well, keep reading. Start reading the Quran whatsoever. So he said, well, according to my experience, the dead person will not hear, So why I have to read? He said, just read. Even I cannot give you any answer. Just read that. So he said, okay. I came back to the dead body and I started reading continuously. Some from the Surah Yasin, some from Surah Kahf, some verses from here and some verses from there. And the first thing, of course, you take the person into the grave is the legs. So I saw that people were able to lift one leg only. Imagine. People are lifting one leg. So he said, Alhamdulillah, at least something is better than nothing. So he said, I kept reading and reading and reading. And 3 of the sons of this lady, they carried the body inside the grave. And he is still reading. He said, something happened. Someone called me. I stopped my qira. I stopped my reading, and he said, out of sudden, I just saw that 3 sons went inside the grave. They just fell down. Because again the body became very heavy. They could not handle it. So they fell down. The body fell down. The body hit the grave. And so he said, what happened? Why are you doing this to your mother? He said, Wallahi, we don't know. She just all of a sudden she became heavy. We cannot carry her. So he said, anyways, I went inside the grave and I started telling them, okay, and I started reading. I'm just pointing, do this, do that, leave this, do this. He said, I am as a man, as a stranger, I cannot touch her because there is mahram, there are sons, and the relative of this lady, so I cannot touch her unless she is completely alone. So I'm just telling and giving the advices. And one of the sons, he is crying. So the Shaykh said, what's wrong? What's wrong with you? He said, Shaykh, Allah Kareem, may Allah save you. Just protect and don't say anything about my mother to anyone. He said, I didn't see anything. What are you talking about? He said, that's it, Shaykh. I'm just telling you, please protect the name of my mother at least. The Shaykh could not understand anything. And then the Shaykh wants to come up, and before coming up from the grave, the son said, may I see my mother's face? The Shaykh said, okay, let me come out. Let me come out of the grave and you can see your mother's face. I cannot see. So the Shaykh came out from the grave, and then the son saw the face. He came out as well and made the burial and everything. And the son actually, he promised the Shaykh while they were in the grave, I will tell you later on once we are out of the grave. So once it's done and the son is crying, he took him into the side and the Shaykh said, what's wrong? Why are you crying so much? And he said, no, I will not tell you. He said, you promised me you will tell me. He said, no, I cannot tell you, Shaykh. He said, you promised me and you have to fulfill your promise. He said, I have to just tell you one thing, that the woman that we just buried, she is not my mom. She was not my mom. The Shaykh said, I have the paper that she is your mom and this is her name and this and that. He said, Wallahi Shaykh, I swear by Allah, when you gave her ghusl, I was there. When you gave her the bath, I was there. Her face was white, and Wallahi, when I just saw now, it was a coal, it was a black stone, and she was not my mom. He's crying, and he's crying. The Shaykh said, okay, tell me what was wrong. He said, no, I cannot tell you, Shaykh, and he left. End of story. Now the Shaykh is saying, after a few months, Qadar of Allah, that's Allah's will. I prayed again janazah in my graveyard, and a man came to me with a long beard wearing turban, and there's a spot of sajda on his forehead, and he said, Shaykh, do you remember me? So he said, no, please remind me, I don't know who you are. He said, do you remember a few months ago there was a lady refusing going inside the grave, and I am the son. So he said, okay, I think he was before different than now. He said, yes, Alhamdulillah, I made a tawbah and I am changed now. So he said, then why you left? You gave me a promise and you have to fulfill your promise. So he said, I will give you now what exactly happened, and I will tell you right now. The Shaykh said, what happened? He said, my mother, in her whole life, she never ever prayed in her whole life. She never prayed in her whole life. That was the reason that she was refusing to go to the grave. Even now it's a dead body, but the body is refusing to go inside the grave. And when I saw that I was crying, then at the end when I saw the last thing, which is opening her face and the cover on her face, and see, it's completely black. It's completely black. She's not my mother. And I was more scared, and this is what happened with me. So this is one of the stories that the Shaykh mentioned. He said, just because she didn't pray whole life and she was lazy to go and get up for prayer, this is what happened. People saw and witnessed that the body was refusing to go inside the grave. So my dear viewers, never neglect the prayer. Pray on time as it is instructed in the glorious Quran. That's for today. See you next time.